The conflict between Israel and Palestine has flared up again, reigniting long-standing tensions. This time, the fighting is especially intense, with both sides suffering significant casualties. Both sides are using strong military force, leading to widespread destruction and chaos. This has caused serious worry around the world, with many countries calling for immediate intervention. Many fear the situation could quickly get even worse, escalating into a full-scale war. The latest violence comes after a period of relative calm, where hopes for peace were cautiously optimistic. But tensions have been building for months, with sporadic clashes and protests hinting at the underlying unrest. There have been disagreements over land and rights, with both sides claiming historical and legal entitlements. The situation is complex with a long history, marked by numerous conflicts and failed peace efforts. Leaders around the world are calling for peace talks, urging both sides to come to the negotiating table. They urge both sides to find a way to stop the fighting and work towards a sustainable solution. However, previous attempts at peace have failed, leaving many skeptical about the prospects of a lasting resolution. Finding a solution seems as difficult as ever, with deep-seated mistrust and grievances on both sides. Both Israelis and Palestinians are deeply affected, with countless families caught in the crossfire. Many live in fear, not knowing what the next day will bring, as the sounds of sirens and explosions become a grim routine. The fighting has made daily life incredibly difficult, disrupting education, healthcare, and basic services, leaving the region in turmoil. Gaza is a densely populated area, home to over 2 million people living in a small strip of land. It's now at the center of the conflict, with tensions escalating rapidly. Rockets fired from Gaza have hit targets inside Israel, causing widespread alarm and damage. In response, Israel has launched airstrikes on what it says are militant targets in Gaza, leading to significant destruction. These exchanges of fire are causing fear and destruction, with families seeking shelter wherever they can. Buildings have been damaged or destroyed, leaving many without homes. Sadly, innocent civilians are being caught in the crossfire, including children and the elderly. There are reports of casualties on both sides, with the numbers rising each day. The people of Gaza are facing a desperate situation, struggling to find safety and basic necessities. Many are without power and running low on essential supplies, making daily life a challenge. Hospitals are struggling to cope with the influx of wounded, with medical staff working around the clock to save lives. The violence is not limited to Gaza and Israel. There are concerns that the conflict could spread to neighboring countries. This could draw in other nations and create an even bigger crisis. Some groups in the region have expressed support for the Palestinians. They have threatened to take action against Israel. This has led to fears of a wider regional war. International leaders are working hard to prevent the situation from escalating further. They are urging all sides to show restraint. However, the situation remains very tense and unpredictable. Adding to the tension, Israeli forces recently conducted a raid in the West Bank city of Tulkarem, a move that has significantly heightened the already fragile situation in the region. This raid came on the heels of an Israeli airstrike that tragically resulted in the deaths of several Palestinian civilians, further inflaming the situation. Israel stated that the airstrike specifically targeted a Hamas leader, whom they accuse of orchestrating attacks against Israeli citizens. However, the raid and subsequent airstrike have sparked widespread outrage among Palestinians, who see these actions as unjustified aggression. Many Palestinians view these military actions as acts of aggression and a violation of their rights, leading to increased demonstrations and protests. This incident underscores how the conflict is not confined to Gaza but also deeply affects the West Bank and other Palestinian territories. It highlights the deep-seated mistrust and anger that exists on both sides, making reconciliation seem increasingly difficult. The international community has expressed significant concern about the raid, with many diplomats calling for restraint and dialogue. Many see it as a dangerous escalation of the conflict, one that could lead to further violence and instability in the region. There is growing worry that these actions will make it even harder to achieve a lasting peace as trust between the two sides continues to erode. The international community is deeply worried about the escalating violence. The United Nations and many countries are urging an immediate ceasefire. They want both sides to stop fighting and start talking. There are ongoing efforts to mediate between Israel and Palestine. The goal is to find a peaceful solution that addresses the concerns of both sides. But achieving this will be very difficult. Many countries are also offering humanitarian aid to help those affected by the fighting. This includes providing medical supplies, food, and shelter. It is ordinary people who are suffering most from this latest wave of violence. The fighting has forced many families to flee their homes in search of safety. They are living in fear and uncertainty. The conflict is also having a devastating impact on children. Many are experiencing trauma and psychological distress. They are being robbed of their childhoods. The world cannot stand by while innocent lives are being lost. It is crucial that we work towards a just and lasting peace for both Israelis and Palestinians. This includes ensuring the safety and well-being of all civilians.